So, common wildlife entry points. Your roof vent, your soffit, your fascia, attic vent, roof intersection, but not only roof intersection. I've noticed in PI there's a lot of structure that have additions being butt together. Or like example, you take two mobile homes and they're butt together. Wherever anything is butting is a weak point. To be able to chew, a rodent needs to be able to grab with their teeth. They cannot just chew on something flat like that. There's nothing to hook on. But if you give them a little corner, oh, I can hook a little bit in there. So you always want to make sure when you're inspecting your structure, give an important look at where there's interiors, exterior corner, and where it's butting. I will recommend start your inspection from ground level and make your way up. Just take a walk around and feel the skirting around your foundation wall when you're walking. Can I feel a hole? If you feel a hole about that size, the size of your finger, sorry, not that finger, that finger. Yeah, my bad, I didn't want to do that, but that finger, worth to be sealed. Mouse can just climb, a rat can just start to chew. So start with your skirting around your house, just check all that. And then after that, let's check your siding. Is there any hole along my siding? Well, if we go with that example here, can we see the laser? So you see how there's gap like around the pipes here? So quite often rodent, they'll just climb up the pipe and they'll squeeze into that gap. So one thing is, make sure those pipes are sealed well. You don't need crazy material to seal them. Again, path of least resistance. Animals they like to be lazy like us. If I can achieve my objective the laziest way possible, I'm happy. So, construction sealant, a good thing that I like. Yes?
There's a couple of different spray foams, one for sealing holes, but there's also one for rodents.
It's, unfortunately, it's a big marketing thing. It does not work.
They want you to still eat through.
Yeah, they'll still eat through it. I don't recommend spray foam myself, unless that you make it a combination with something else. So let's say, you spray foam, but you put also shards of glass or piece of metal or anything like that. You put stainless wool and then you put spray foam. So that way you create basically, you're creating a bond between the void space, the exterior panel, and the actual pipe. So now if, example, a rodent try to come, they have to chew, but they have to pull as well, right? They will either push, pull, or chew. If they chew the spray foam and they start to hit, stainless wool, then now they're not wanting to try to bypass it as much, right? But if you just use the foam itself, first, it's an insulation. It's perfect for nest site. It's perfect to keep warm. So let's just chew it and make a nest into it. In Victoria, BC, Vancouver Island, there's what you call island-based system. Basically crawl space encapsulation. And what they do is they put that plastic barrier all along the dirt, and then after that they spray the spray foam all along the walls and everything like that. I had a job with a poor old lady that I've dealt with for a year, because the rat keep bypassing the sewer trunk behind the spray foam where I couldn't inspect, and they were literally living in that 1 foot of spray foam. They literally made a burrowing network through the wall spray foam. So after a year and after, sometime activity peak, activity stop, activity peak, activity stop, we decided to do exploration work because, again, I'm blind. I cannot see behind that spray foam, right? And after that, I cut that 1 foot, by 1 foot. That's when we discovered all the burrows coming through, and we discovered the burrows coming from the sewer trunk and everything like that. So spray foam is not your friend, unless that you use it with something that's stronger than spray foam. So that basically use it as an adhesive. Don't use it as the wall blocking agent. Use it as your bonding agent.
So you said construction sealant. Is there any particular brands you recommend?
I don't recommend any particular brand because I don't do construction, right? I do pest controls. Personally, when it comes example for, stone, like say a foundation wall or anything like that, you have a crack or something like that, I like to use PL glue. It's a wood glue that you use for your flooring, basically. When you put your plywood, they glue the plywood with that and then screw it. It becomes as hard as concrete. And by experience, knocking on metal right now, I haven't had one rat been able to bypass it. They start to chew it and then they just gave up. But the thing is, it contracts once it starts to solidify. So it can leave some gaps around. With versus, for example, you go with a caulking or a silicone, it's actually more flexible, but it's easier to chew through. So I will use it as a bonding more, which versus, you could do epoxy. That's expensive a little bit, but you could do some epoxy mixing like that. That become as hard as stone. They're not able to chew through, and if they try to chew through, usually it's toxic. Other than that, meshing like that. And the reason is, you think of it like a sheet of paper. You can fold it, you can bend it, you can shape it however you want, push it in the hole or encapsulate it or etc. like that, without having to put a piece of wood or this or that. And it's still safe enough for nothing to go through it. Again, it's solid, it's an actual material, it's not a liquid, it's not a paste, it's not anything like that. It's impossible for them to bypass it as long as the around is tight. As long as the perimeter of what you're installing is tight, that's your best material for exclusion work. Even your roof line. I used to do full roof line for customers that I was literally just rolling little sausage of meshing like that and just wedge it between the plywood and the fascia board, and then put the screw every 6 or 8 inch. That way, nothing can bypass it. If they try to chew between the roof line and the fascia board or squeeze through it, it's all metal. They're not able to do it. So, one thing too, especially with roof, it's what you call a dormer. That thing here. A dormer is where two roofs meet together. It's always a weak point. Again, as we talked earlier, interior corner, exterior corner, anything that butt together, that's two things that meet together, leave gaps usually, and therefore is weak. Quite often when a contractor, siding guys do the soffit, they don't necessarily attach the J-trim at the bottom to the roof, or sometimes they'll leave a little gap underneath, and it's normal, it's just how construction works. But the rat or the raccoon or the squirrel don't care about that. So they take advantage and then they'll pull your siding or they'll pull your soffit like that. So what could prevent all that? Doing inspection. Often, and you don't have to be super thorough, you just have to be constant. You need to know the lay of the land. So that's where I was coming with the garbage can earlier, which that person don't have a problem or anything like that, but it was just a good example for this presentation. Some form of food attractant, such as the bird feeder near the homes, garbage container, compost bin, pet food in the outdoor, are one of the reasons why you'll have a raccoon or you'll have anything coming to your place. The food is there, and then now there's a little gap by the soffit that making sure that I'm able to squeeze through. So I have food and a shelter all at the same place. So how you mitigate that is to move the food attractant away of the structure. I love bird feeders, I love birds, but again, they're messy eaters. So I don't put them directly on my deck or put it near the vicinity of my structure. I typically try to put it about 15 feet away. That's the beautiful thing with birds. It's when you're a bird, really a bird connoisseur, and you want to watch your birds, you usually have binoculars or you're willing to watch it from far. So that avoids a ton of problem. If they don't have a reason or a place to hide near a source of food, they don't have a reason to come check out your house. They have everything they need out there. It's just they're opportunistic like us. If I was given the right to go in the house of everyone and raid their fridge, you can bet that will be pretty big right now. So same thing with them, right? So in that picture specifically, what I will recommend is the garbage bin. At the very least, be outside of that, like even farther than that, or across the parking lot. So that way the food attractant is there. If the garbage gets flipped by the wind, the raccoon go raid it, well then it's not your house, it's there. Now the food attractant for the rodent or the mouse or etc. is there, not to your house. One thing too, now we're going to talk about arborage site. Like I was talking about earlier, clutters, wood piles, belongings right along your structure creating arborage site area where they can hide, protected from bird eye view. Sometimes you don't know what's behind your pile because it's been so long you haven't been near it. So in that picture, the example for that is the bush. Really nice bush. It's well trimmed. It doesn't touch the roof line or anything like that, but it's touching the structure directly. Now, if I'm a rat, and I'm leaving from that bush here across the road, and I need to not be seen by the birds up there, I'm going to make a run for that bush. Now I'm hiding here. Oh, well, it smells good. Oh, there's some scrap there. Oh, I'm not being seen here. Hey, it's super safe to hide there, guys. So now they leave their smell, and then the other rats are like, oh yeah, that's safe. Oh yeah, that's safe. And then you start to have problems along your structure. So what I recommend with example bush like that, or piles or anything like that, is give a 2 feet empty gap between your structures and any pile or any belongings or anything like that. That 2 feet window helps you to be able to monitor what's happening near your structure. Help me, example, if you're calling me because you have a problem, to actually take a look at your structure. But I also remove the wall. I feel safe to run from there to there because there's a bush. Now it's like, well, if I go against the wall and there's no bush, the bird still can see me. Something still can see me. I don't want to be there. So giving yourself that window between your foundation wall to your vegetation or your belongings or etc. is a really big key element on how protecting your structure. Skirting is really important as well. In PEI, the building style making sure that a lot of houses are built on post. So it is really important to either skirt your house or your structure as best as you can. Again, I will invite that the skirting goes at least 1 foot deep into the ground. Use meshing to extend your skirting or do anything like that, so that way nothing can bypass it and therefore get into your structure. Because quite often when you go under those mobile home, you just have that little like thin paper / insulation that's just underneath there. That's like, I can poke a finger through it just going like that. The rats, the mouse find that, they're protected, there's nothing bothering them, there's no birds above them anymore. And now they're in your mobile home and you're like, oh my, what can I do about it? Now they literally have free range to the skeleton of your structure. So for those type of structure, make sure the skirting is well done. And if you can make it happen, skirt the underneath of your mobile home. You can use soffit. You try to use metal, don't try to use plastic. You can use soffit, you can use meshing like that. There's plenty of material out there that you can use that can be strong enough to avoid any rodent to bypass into your structure. For instance, with the weasel that goes in the house, I've been seeing that quite often. Typically when they come in your house, it's because, again, you have another problem. There was a mouse that was there before. It just followed the hole where the mouse went. And now it's inside your house like, hey, where's that mouse? So, any questions so far about any of that? All right. So, that's an example of a roof check. Some people getting elderly, some people are lazy, some people are they're just not aware or educated about it. Your roof line is extremely a sensitive spot because, again, two things butting together. That's from a combination of squirrels, red squirrels in Cornwall, and water damage from the downspout that's not connected to the actual gutter. The guy didn't know about it, but was hearing noise. I seal every, underneath there's like slough between the wood framing. I seal all that, but still hearing noise. So then I climb in a tree, put my camera, and then while I was doing that, I turned my head and I checked the roof. I'm like, there's a hole in that roof. Sure thing, that's how they come in. What can I do for that? The reality is you need a new roof. The plywood is damaged, or you need renovation. You need like a professional. Things that are water damage are easier for rodents or any other animal to bypass. Like, you know, it's easy to go through woods like that when with your claws or anything like that when it's all wet. So you always want to check for those gaps. Magic dimension is make sure as best as possible to have gaps that are lesser than 6 millimeter. That's the key number here for homeowner to protect their structure. Gap lesser than 6 millimeter. So on your property, what can you do when it comes to habitat modification to protect from wildlife or rodents or anything like that? Secure the attractant. Secure your structure. Avoid creating arborage site or area they can hide. Be, proactive when it comes to your structure. It's your nest. I've never seen a bird wasting their nest. Usually they take care of their nest. Yeah. Pardon?
Lighting.
Oh, lightning.
Lighting around your home.
Yeah. So it can affect to a degree. So spotlights can like differ like a raccoon or stuff like that, and the reason is just because it's spooky initially. But what happened from that, they're adaptable, right? They come to learn that there's no danger coming from it. There's no bad smell. There's no, bad after effect of it. You know what I mean? Like you're just being seen. That's all. Even for rodent control, light it's not really working, and the reason is because they'll seek shadow spot. They'll literally run from one shadow spot to another shadow spot. If they don't have an arborage site, they'll just try to hide in shadow spots. But one thing, example, decoy. Decoy may work, such as your plastic owl or like those stuff like that, or like an owl that does noise or anything like that. But the thing is, it has to move. The animals knows that like an owl is not supposed to be stationary there for 2 days. So you want to take that owl and you want to keep moving it, even if it's like just moving it from 2 feet. The rodent, like the rat knows he's neophobic, he knows his environment. The mouse knows right away that like it was 2 feet to that direction before. Raccoon is like, oh no, another owl, no. So decoys work, but you gotta be constant with them. Same with your inspection. So like, a good idea is you could take your owl, and every time you do your inspection, you move the owl. You do your inspection once a week, your little walkthrough around your property. Let's move the owl today. Always to a different spot. All right. Inspection and exclusion. Inspection, identify entry points and attractant. Basically trying to figure it out why you have that problem or why that guy is visiting you. Exclusion mean sealing openings, install wildlife-proof covers, repairs, and try to fix the vulnerability where potential pest or animal could affect your structure or your livelihood. When to call a professional? So I was talking about one-way door, raccoon, and a hole in the roof. Yep. So the lady was struggling a bit financially, so she tried to do her own remedy, like everyone will do to protect their house. She initially installed a plastic barrier and everything, and what it did only, it created a perfect, like a warm room for the raccoon to go between the roof, so that portion here, that's the plywood, and the ceiling. So there's a void space in there with insulation and everything like that. So with the paper barrier, what it does is it created the perfect like little sauna spot for the raccoon. She kept hearing noise, and the raccoon was not trying to bypass because the raccoon is not stupid. It doesn't want to go inside your house. It knows it's dangerous. But she kept hearing the noise, and then we decided to remove that paper, that plastic barrier, and found out that hole. So that's a combination, again, of water damage and a raccoon taking advantage of it. But also what happened, it's at the exterior here, like on the roof line, branches are touching the roof. The raccoons climbing on those branches all the time. That's why, water dripping from the roof, from the trees on there, creating water damage. The raccoons, it's exactly where he's walking, found the void, found the vulnerability, and like, start to rip it. And then after that, well, exclusion. Et voila. That one-way door that I showed you earlier, guys, super easy. The hole is way bigger than the one-way door. But what I did is I used some zip ties to attach it into the meshing, cut it perfectly to size. So that way I can fasten it to the perimeter of the hole. Now, what the raccoon was trying is it was trying to pounce on that, you can see in some of the videos that I have, is trying to pull on those stuff and trying to basically, open it. But he's not able to because it's all sealed properly. There's no gaps where they can lift up. There's a good anchor point with all the screws and the washer itself, creating a good flat surface. And we called it successful. I went back there. The raccoon, within a gap of 2 weeks, came back 3 times on video. And after the third time of pouncing on it and trying, and you can see on the third day that he's trying, he's really mad. No sighting after that, no noise, no nothing, and it's been beautiful. So now the customer have a one-way door instead of a roof. It actually fixed a lot of the hair draft issue that she had, little side effect. And she's really pleased, so now that's hers to keep. The big key takeaway from this presentation today that I hope that you guys have, is that most wildlife conflicts are preventable. We can prevent, we can heal. Nature cannot take as much damage as we do. They don't have the brain capacity or to understand what's happening in this world. All they know is they need to eat, they need to rest, they need to reproduce, and they need to thrive. So it's our duty to do the walk around your house, to check what's happening, attractant in your neighborhood, and to see how can I help my neighbor, the raccoon? How can I help my neighbor, the skunk? Because we're all in that together, and it's a tough world, and it's a tough world for them. So again, remove attractant, repair opening, inspect regularly, understand wildlife behavior.